Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about Planet Terror. And this movie is directed by Robert Rodriguez, and it came out in 2007. And it's part of the Grindhouse double feature thing that came out in 2007, where they played Planet Terror and Death Proof. And I really love Death Proof. I think that's an awesome movie, and I've seen it a few times. But I've never seen Grindhouse, like the full experience, if that makes sense, because there's two different versions of these movies. There's the Grindhouse that plays both movies, and there's fake trailers in between. And there's the extended editions of both of these movies where they're separate. And I've always seen the extended edition of Death Proof, and this is my first viewing of Planet Terror, and it was the extended edition. And I had fun while watching this movie. And I don't think it's nearly as good as Death Proof, but it's gory, cheesy, and enjoyable, especially for what it's going for. It's kind of like a zombie apocalypse movie, or like a disease and everyone's infected and they're taking over the world. One of those types of movies, and it's like really bloody and gory, and it's not like really disturbing gore. It's fun, campy, and cheesy, and that's what I like about it. And the action scenes are the standout scenes for me in this movie. Like the gore moments are also really fun, and I like the look of the movie. It's very 70s, and that's part of the style that they were trying to do. And I think it looks good, and I like the characters. They're very over the top for sure, but I feel as though that adds to the tone of the movie, which I also love. Like, I love the cheesy tone. I love the over the top characters. And for the most part, this movie didn't really waste a whole lot of time. And there were like 15 minutes that I can do without. But for the most part, I was with it. And I was having fun. And I didn't really have any idea as to where the movie was going. And it was overall a fun experience for me. There were also some reincorporations in the movie that I liked. Some of them were a bit on the nose, and they happened like, I don't know, 10 minutes, maybe 15 after they were first mentioned. But other ones are mentioned like a lot later in the movie, like earlier on and then later on in the movie, if that makes sense. And another thing that helped my experience while watching it was that I did feel as though there was some self-awareness to it. Like, the movie knew what it was, and it just kind of embraced it. And I think that's what helped me while watching it. Like, if it didn't have that element to it, I probably would have just been bored out of my mind. I was like, okay, we're just having a bland, basic horror movie, and nothing is added to it. But here I feel as though they were like trying to make fun of it and to have some comedy in there, and I was having fun and I was laughing, and it's a good movie to show to people if you want to have a fun experience, much like One Cut of the Dead, which I recently covered. Like, if I'm going to show a movie to people just to have a fun time, this movie and Death Proof are ones that I would love to show to people. And although I am speaking very positively about this movie, and there's lots to appreciate within it, I don't think it's a perfect movie. There are things that were kind of holding it back for me, and one of those was that at points, not consistently throughout the entire film, but there were points where I did feel as though the editing was a bit choppy, and I wished that certain shots were held on longer. And I'm not saying that this is an issue throughout the entirety of the film. And I'm saying that there were specific moments in the film where there were quick cuts, and it was effective in how it was used. But there were other points where I felt as though it didn't need that. And like I said earlier, I do feel as though the movie is a bit too long, like 10-15 minutes could have been cut out. And there were some characters that I felt were kind of unnecessary and didn't need to be there. And also, Quentin Tarantino is in the movie acting, and normally when he's acting, it's not the best thing in the world, but in this movie it is kind of funny, like what they do with his character, and he doesn't ruin the movie, but he is also kind of distracting for me. But as far as issues that I have with the movie, I don't really have too many. It was mostly just a movie that you would talk about in terms of your experience while watching it, and I had fun. And Rose McGowan was really good in it. She's in both Planet Terror and Death Proof, which I just recently discovered. And yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. And this movie does have a great cast. Like, Michael Biehn is in it, and he's really good in the movie. Josh Brolin. A bunch of actors that I'm familiar with, and I thought that they did a good job. Bruce Willis was in it too, and I would definitely check this movie out again. Not quite as good as Death Proof for me, but still a movie worth watching. It's worth at least one watch. Like, I would be interested to see the Grindhouse versions of both of these movies, Planet Terror and Death Proof, just to see what the differences are. I'm kind of familiar with what the differences are in Death Proof, because that's the more talked about movie, because it's a Quentin Tarantino directed movie. But this one, not so much, and I'm curious to see what the different cuts have to offer, and which one I would prefer to watch. So definitely check this movie out, and I think you'll enjoy it. So with all that being said, I'm going to give Planet Terror the standalone release cut, or the extended version, whichever one you want to call it. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Thank you for watching my videos. As always, if you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below you thought of Planet Terror, and my social media links, they will all be in the description, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation, and I'll see you when I get my next review up, and that is going to be for Blonde. So look forward to that, but until I get that up, thank you for watching and have a great day.